Because totally different fucking styles.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Totally
a different style from the fact that if you classify them in genre. Jimmy is more of a rock, psychedelic guitar player. Stevie Ray Vaughan is a blues player.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I mean,
I think in some regards,
he's meat and potatoes.
Stevie Ray Vaughan was a little more talented to the point, like, if he heard you play something, he could immediately play that same thing in a matter of seconds.
Well, so
I don't know if Jimmy really did that.
He was an ear player.
He played by ear, but he didn't like. If somebody played something, I think, and they said, "Okay, replay that," I don't think Jimmy was as quick and able to do that as much. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
And I read that today, anyways, that they said that about.
Didn't Jimmy play in like Little Richard's band?
Yeah.
Yep, I actually got that wrote down.
And,
he started out playing with the Isley Brothers. He was backup band with them and backup with Little Richard when he first started.
And he was a left-handed, upside-down guitar player.
Yep, he played his guitar upside down.
And I mean, you could. Their little tricks they do. Jimmy played behind his ears or his head. Stevie Ray played behind his head. Where did Stevie Ray get that?
No, he
okay, Jimi Hendrix played with his teeth.
In fact, one of the...
I mean, you know, you could go on and on. One mirrors the other.
I don't think it's a mirror. I mean, I think he learned a lot from Jimmy, and he does consider Jimmy an idol to him. Actually, one of the facts I have on here, one of his Halloween shows, Stevie Ray Vaughan dressed up as Jimi Hendrix.
Did he do blackface?
And
no.
Then how did you dress up as Jimi Hendrix?
Just wear the big hair. And
everybody knew who's.
Tie-dye stuff like the hippies did, dude.
I actually have a picture of that on my phone.
Yeah, but no, if you read about Stevie, I mean, he says all the time that Jimmy was his idol, and
you tend, what I know about people, musicians specifically, since we're talking about that, you tend to mold yourself into your idol.
Well, in some regards, maybe, but I think Stevie.
I mean, because I watched Sam struggle with songs that he genuinely wants to learn, and they're his idol songs.
Every guitar player will try to learn and know other.
I know, and they think they have to mimic that 100%. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
that's the mirror thing.
I don't think it's 100%. I mean, I think you know, I obviously, you know, he loves Jimmy. He plays some of Jimmy's songs and stuff on the albums and stuff like that. But I mean, if I sit there and I close my eyes and I listen to 10 guitar players, I guarantee you every time I can pick out Stevie Ray Vaughan's sound. He has that.
And you couldn't pick out Jimmy's?
I almost probably could, you know, in some regards, but there are more people that mimic his style because he's such a more popular guitar player in some regards. And a lot of people in rock and roll are just not into the blues like that.
But Jimi Hendrix is only popular for a couple things. Truthfully.
Really?
I don't know about that. I mean,
yeah, because most people don't know him other than
he's popular for
the national anthem at Woodstock or a few other main things that made him pop out. And I mean, you can't compare that list.
Picking his tongue, you know, picking his guitar with his tongue,
to Stevie Ray's
and all that. Those were like some little mimics that he did, and a lot of people always mimic. But he's the first one. I mean, I'm trying not to get into all my notes on this stuff, but I mean, he broke the ground on how he distorted his guitar and used his amps and everything. Nobody did that. And basically until he'd done that, and a lot of people that was like opening a floodgate to a whole new genre of guitar work and everything. I mean, it's just...
For a matter of very, very few unfortunate ending soon years. You know, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was killed, but he had a bigger span.
Well, yeah, I mean, you say that a lot. We said that about Randy Rhoads and stuff like that. Jimi Hendrix truly only had about 4 years of studio work and things like that. And look what the guy did in a short period of time. I mean, it's remarkable.
That's why I said there's certain things that you can't compare one with the other.
Jimmy, when he passed, was really working towards building something musically, he was always moving forward. Where, with all due respect to Stevie Ray Vaughan, kind of same old.
I see what you're saying there.
It is.
Because
that's
he
what
was
I'm saying.
he was groundbreaking at that time because no one. I mean, by the time Stevie started playing guitar, there's 1,000 different guitar players that were playing certain things.
Stevie brought the blues back.
Yeah, he did really bring the blues back.
He brought the blues back Jimmy's way.
No.
Yeah. He molded himself off Jimi Hendrix
Jimmy doesn't
and gave Jimi Hendrix the blues because Jimi Hendrix was not blues.
Jimi Hendrix
Jimmy was blues.
was not blues.
He did do some blues stuff, but that was not.
He did some blues, but he was not blues.
He was more for.
And one point
when I say that, Stevie Ray Vaughan took Jimi Hendrix and gave him the blues. He transformed Jimi Hendrix's style and sound with the blues to maybe explain and that a little better than I said it. That's what I meant by that.
I see what you're saying, but I give you about that much on that. But I mean,
I'm a big tone and feel guy with guitar playing. If that's not been evident by what I've said here in the past, but you listen to a thing like Waterfall and listen to the subtle tones in that fucking thing. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Castles Made of Sand.
Yeah, that's really good.
You know.
But it's the same style. That's why you can always pick out Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's his signature style. You can always pick out Jimmy because that's his signature style. And that's what resonates in your brain and your memory in that piece of you.
I don't know
that
if that
feeling.
See, I hear more listening to Stevie, Albert King, and Albert Collins and guys like that than I do his.
Well, see, there you're just classifying a blues.
I think if
and it's two different
signature
things.
licks.
But it's two different things.
Kind of back to what you were saying about people noticing them. I don't think that's true for Jimmy. Like if you played something that wasn't a single or a hit, I don't think people out that don't really listen to that much Jimmy would be able to pick it out.
See, I do.
See, now I agree with Kyle a little bit more. If I'm just listening to music with my eyes closed and everything, I could almost always pick out Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know,
well, I could probably play you a couple Stevie Ray Vaughan songs that
Jimmy,
were not mainstream, and that not many people know, and I don't know if you'd know it was him.
I don't know. I would say that because of people playing the rock and roll and stuff, and there's so many more guitar players playing so vibrantly on the rock style guitar, it would be a little harder for people to pick out Hendrix on some unknown songs than it would be to pick out Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I don't agree. I think it's about the same.
I think Steve's got a certain sound.
I know. I think it'd be about the same.
You know, but you know, that'd be kind of a neat experiment.
I think Hendrix was a lot more of a sloppier guitar player. I'm not saying he was any less Hendrix of a guitar player, but his style was more sloppy.
Yeah, he was sloppy.
And he could be because he was breaking ground. A lot of people were just amazed by what he was doing.
Right. That's because, you know, and I've watched Sam get in the mode. I've watched Sherman get in this mode. I've watched other guitar players get in this mode. When you're getting in that mode, it don't matter if you've rehearsed that next little da-da-da-da-da. If that's where your heart and you're going, that's where you go. And you play it.
And these two guys are...
And some people could think that's sloppy.
Are two of the greatest that could do something like that and just play a solo and amaze people. And
I think that's what most of them are. They're just good moments that were captured, you know, in a studio or on a recording that, you know, and then they had to go back and learn that moment because it was the moment.
And that's why I would say it's more amazing with Jimi Hendrix on some regards because he was a groundbreaker. He wasn't really listening to a whole... I think he said Muddy Waters was his biggest influence. And he actually made the comment when he heard it as a kid, it scared him to death. And he always reflects back as Muddy Waters being the person that started his love for guitar and stuff. But there wasn't a lot of people that played what he played. There really wasn't hardly a lot of people or any. Now, when you get to Stevie Ray Vaughan, there's been a couple generations of folks who played guitar. So he had a lot more to reflect on. So, I mean, I'll already kind of give you an idea what I'm thinking. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan is my ultimate favorite guitar player, right up there with Clapton. But I say Jimi Hendrix wins his verses because of what he did and the short amount of time he did it when no one was doing this. I'm not a huge fan. I am a fan of Jimmy, but I'm not as big as I am on Stevie Ray Vaughan or Clapton. But this is me because I'm Mr. Billboard and I'm a Mr. Record Store owner. I'm saying Jimi Hendrix wins this. I mean, because of the stuff he did, and in a short amount of time when no one was doing it.
And you're basically just kind of agreeing with me in a lot of ways agreeing with what I said in a lot of ways.
No, you're saying these guys are similar, and I'm saying they are not similar.
I'm saying that Jimi Hendrix was Stevie Ray Vaughan's idol.
Right.
He molded and learnt everything from Jimi Hendrix. And then he gave it his own, which was the blues. And he made his own signature sound. They're similar because Vaughan made himself a mirror image of Hendrix with his style.
Maybe when he was first starting, but
they all started somewhere.
But then Stevie went another step. I think.
That's because Hendrix died then. I don't think that Stevie Ray Vaughan bypasses Hendrix at all.
I got a point to make. I'm sorry. I got to make this point. You say that Stevie was a mirror image of Jimmy. Not true at all. If you want a mirror image of Jimi Hendrix, only John Roth.
Well, I get all that, but between these two,
Uli played like Hendrix,
but we're not talking about Uli.
Well, let me make my point, because you know where I'm going. Uli played like Hendrix. He dressed like Hendrix. He fucking married Hendrix's wife. And
I get that. That's saying white female.
I hate that movie because the puppy dies.
I think one of my favorite Hendrix stories was he was playing somewhere right after the Beatles released Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah. He played the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, he did.
And the Beatles came in to watch, and Hendrix's band had learned that, and they're like, how? That's just released, you know? They didn't have the internet or nothing. Hendrix has my vote.
Yeah.
Now, my preference, I'll listen to Stevie over Jimmy.
Same here.
But
Samus changed his mind. Because yesterday he told me I was crazy.
I think Stevie Ray Vaughan could play circles around Jimi Hendrix.
I mean, when you brought this up, I'm going, yeah, Stevie. But like I said, my record store owner head knows that Jimi Hendrix done something that no one ever has done, and with a guitar, and broke ground for all these other people to do what's happening now, or did happen.
See, and that's where, you got to take your preference personally as an individual out of it,
right,
and look at the whole. Look at it as a whole.
If I do it from here, Stevie Ray Vaughan wins. But I'm not. I don't.
If I did it from here, I would pick Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Right.
But I can't. It's Hendrix for me.
I mean, I kind of give some of the things I found out that I thought were kind of cool. Obviously Stevie died at 35. Jimmy died at 27. Of course, Stevie got his pretty big break when he played with David Bowie and did the Let's Dance song. His last album, In Step, was his most successful album, and he had a #1 hit, Crossfire, off that. Obviously, on August 27th, 1990, He was killed in a helicopter crash after playing with Robert Cray and Eric Clapton at the Wisconsin Alpine Valley.
Some amazing people to have your last performance with.
Yeah, yeah, really. Stevie was put in the Hall of Fame in 2015. Now here's the thing I can't believe. This really shocked me. Stevie Ray Vaughan is ranked the 12th greatest rock and roll guitarist, and I even got you these names, and I can see a couple of them as being, but boy, I tell you, there's a few. I just makes you really make you really wonder. Of course, Jimi Hendrix is ranked the #1 guitar player in Rolling Stone. Another reason why I would definitely say, Jimmy's, more important than Vaughn. But #2, Clapton. Then you got Page, Keith Richards, Jeff Beck, B.B. King, Chuck Berry, Dwayne Allman, Pete Townsend, George Harrison, and then Stevie Ray Vaughan, Albert King.
I have to agree.
You forgot Eddie Vedder.
That's a pretty good.
I have to agree.
Who did you say?
Oh, Eddie Vedder. No, who was it?
I forget I didn't put his last name, so I forget.
I know who you're talking about.
Steve Vai?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty good guitar player.
Can
so,
I,
I mean,
I think there's so many more better ones than some of those.
I just, I would move Stevie up a few more spots on there, maybe #7 or 8.
No, I think Stevie played Chuck Berry out of the fucking water.
Yeah, that's what I mean, other than what
Chuck
he
Berry
did
was
for
another
music,
one of those.
he did a lot for
founders,
music. Johnny Be Good and all that, but he's no way I think better
a better guitarist
than Stevie.
Yeah.
And
You always gotta take that into
founders.
George Harrison was
consideration.
really good, but
Now George plays some stuff that I don't think that Stevie or Hendrix could play. Some of the Beatles chords are just some weird, whacked out.
Yeah.
But is it just because he's with the Beatles, or because he is a damn good
But
player.
you know who I'm
It's
really
the guitar.
surprised
I
isn't
don't
on
think it's
there?
'cause he's
Two
just
people
the Beatles.
that I'm really surprised aren't on there, that I could see being on a list like this, because I think a lot of these Rolling Stone lists and stuff are a little bit more people oriented versus actual. I'm surprised that they don't have Prince on there. He was phenomenal guitar player.
Very underrated.
Very underrated.
Yes,
You know
and
what? When they said
Brad
about Prince.
Paisley.
Brad Paisley is a
He is a damn
good guitar player. He does
Yes,
not get the
he
respect.
is.
I
No, not all.
went to see him in concert
He is
once.
phenomenal.
My God, he blew me away on
I've saw it a
guitar.
couple times.
Yeah, Brad Paisley is
And
very
he will
good.
stand out there and play, just doing riffs that you're like,
Yeah,
this come from Country Boy?
he,
Brad Paisley.
Oh, Brad Paisley's awesome.
Zach
he is
Wild.
really good.
I mean,
And he's
Brandy
pretty.
Rose. We could go on and on.
so
With a bunch on this.
I put down a couple things about each artist that I try to write down as something these guys mean a lot to me, but vibrato, man, I'm telling you, being able to snake a note in a way that complement both the song and the mood of the solo is highly expressive art that Stevie Ray Vaughan definitely perfected. I especially love the vibrato because it is so damn wide and muscular. These days, in our time, these days, it seems like everybody wants to sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's not really happens with Jimmy as much anymore. It might have been back in that generation, but you go to Sherman's store. What do we hear every time we're in Sherman's store?
But
I need my pickups and stuff. I want to sound like Stevie Ray
but
Vaughan.
Sherman is a diehard Hendrix fan.
Well,
Sherman loves
but I'm telling you,
Yes, he does love both.
there's almost not a time we go in his shop and we're sitting there.
Somebody's one of them Texas special pickups.
Yep. Sound like Stevie. So.
By the way, Mike, that was very nicely written.
Thank you.
I had to say something.
Well, I got one for Jimmy too. Here, I'll read in a second. Some cool things I got some cool facts I tried to find about each one of them. A lot of people don't know. Stevie Ray Vaughan in 1988 did an oil commercial for oil company. You actually can go on YouTube and watch it. It's unusual to see, but he did an actual commercial for an oil company.
I read that last night.
Yeah. I already said about him dressing up like Jimmy. He plays drums on his 85 Solo to Soul album. That's kind of interesting. He also played on Don Johnson's solo album in 1986.
Well,
I didn't know that one.
The Miami Vice guy.
If we're, Jimmy played everything on Purple Haze. The drums.
He played every instrument.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I thought this was really funny too. When Steve first started, he wanted to be called Stingray. I don't think that would have worked very good, but hey, yeah.
Well, Sting?
Maybe before Sting and Police, I don't know. But, all right. It was really cool too. Like Steve Ray Vaughan started at age 7, quit school, and moved to Austin, and the rest is history. Hendrix started at age 15. Like I said earlier, he started backup for Isley Brothers' Little Richard. Electric Lady Wine was his most successful album, and it was a #1 album.
That album on vinyl was confusing.
Yeah.
Because it was made for the record players that stack.
Yeah.
So side A is with side D, and side C is with side B. Always fucking confuses me.
Alright, now here's my little thing I wrote for Jimmy. The way he used his amps and distortion was like no one ever. Jimmy was the single most inventive electric guitarist in rock. He did more to extend the reach of the instrument than anyone else of his generation. He single-handedly demolished traditional definitions of music by playing and recording sounds made with his guitar that define guitar playing and or even an explanation. That was what I thought of him. Some 10 cool facts you might not have known about Jimmy. His name is actually John Allen Hendrix, and when he started playing, his stage name actually was Jimmy James. The cool, interesting part was Chase Chandler, the bassist of the Animals, became his manager and told him he needed to start using the name Jimi Hendrix in 1966. I already told you the story about Muddy Waters and how he influenced him. Jimmy could not read music. He never could. He would always talk about his dreams were his major influence on writing music. Purple Haze was a dream he had about a drowning man.
Did I tell you when I went to the Hall of Fame, I saw the piece of paper he wrote that on?
I saw that too. That's pretty cool.
Fucking excellent.
Obviously, he played the guitar upside down, like he said. And a really interesting story that I never heard this before. Did you know he was kidnapped one time for 2 days by 2 men? He says because he went to go buy cocaine and was tricked and was kidnapped for 2 days. The other flip side of the story, his manager actually thinks that another gentleman hired these guys to kidnap him and threaten to steal him from management of him.
Now that wasn't long before he died, was it?
I'm not sure on the date
I'm
on it,
pretty
but
sure.
it had to be later because he was really popular.
The new documentary.
Another thing for Jimmy.
He was the #1 grossing artist for a while too. Jimmy
Another thing for Jimmy, he got to fuck Elvira.
Yep.
You would know that.
Jimmy liked he was with a white woman when he died.
Who wouldn't fuck Elvira then?
Well, Clapton, as good as he is, had never seen nobody play a guitar like Hendrix did.
Right.
No, I mean he's the founder.
He saw it and lived it,
He set the groundwork for every guitar player that followed.
Yeah, but
I love them both, and
I'm a huge Clapton fan, man. And I'll tell you, as much as that guy has done through the years, from Yardbirds to whatever else, man, he's probably my #1 guitar player. I mean, at least I've got to see him in concert a few times, and it is just something you can't really explain until you really see it in person. I'm telling you. And maybe I would say that about Jimmy and Stevie if I got to see them. But
I always liked talking about Cream getting off on a Cream.
Well, I mean, I think they're all phenomenal.
Well, Stevie Ray
I
Vaughan
don't
was booed off the stage at that Monterey Jazz Festival that first time, and then came back and headlined it. Booed off the stage.
That's just unreal.
Monterey Pop Festival.
Wow.
It wouldn't be Monterey Pop, because that was 69.
I think they're both phenomenal.
I mean,
and I'd love to sit. One of my favorite things to do, and it's soothing for me, is to sit and watch Sam play some of these riffs, just sitting on the end of the bed, you know, and he's just ripping out a few of Stevie Ray's riffs, and I'm just like, wow,
all those guys I just read are amazing in some regard. I mean, really are. I mean, I'm a big B.B.
But
King
I can't
fan.
pick him.
Too.
I can't pick him just because I prefer him.
Albert King, I think, might be better than a lot of those other guys on that list. I mean,
I think they need to wrap it up.
All right, we're done with that part. Go ahead. So
did Hendrix win?
I say Hendrix.
Hendrix wins. So
good versus guys.
Yeah, if it was, that was really good. Might have been one of our best ones. But
I'm gonna put a lot of thought into this. So, you know, I would like for you guys watching this to give us some feedback. We want to hear your guys' opinions as well.
Yeah.
I think there's so many verses that, you know, I'm going to pick a verses that's really going to make us think outside of our heart.
Well, that's the only reason we do this live is, for you guys to do this. If you know, we start not getting any comments, I'll just record the show and post it. I mean, because that was part of the idea when we started this, was to get opinions of people.
I want to hear people's reasons other than just the fact that I like him. I like him.
And, you know, or if you have any ideas for verses or top 10 lists, I mean, give us a shout out.
We're open to suggestions.
I just had an idea. Thought. You know who's never got to pick a verses?
Well, there's a reason.
This guy.
We're not doing porn list. I told you and
I
told
will
you.
do a porn list, but I think I should get to pick the verses thing.
And what would it be?
I don't know.
We'll get into that next. Let's get going on the news and stuff.
That's a for behind the scenes conversation.
All right, let's do the news real quick. This is one of the shortest news lists we've ever had this week, so I'm sure you're all probably happy with that, I guess. Some of the big stories this week, we'll go right into this one. Riley Gale of the thrash band Power Trip died at age 34. These guys were a really up-and-coming band, would open for Slayer and people like that. And because of his death, actually their music is top on the charts right now.
Number one on Apple Music.
Yeah, and it's probably getting, it's sorry to say the guy dies to get that much attention, but I mean,
that's kind of funny how it works.
You've seen him before.
I saw him twice. First time opening up for Slayer, and I'm not kidding. A little band from Texas who I didn't know got cheers, Power Trip before they came out at a fucking Slayer show. If that would have been 1991, they would have been murdered. But when I saw them, they are like I think of them as more of a hardcore. I hate to use this than a comparison because they're gonna get this comparison anyway. But I see them as a hardcore Pantera, and I was right next to the fucking stage, but both times I saw them. And
a hardcore Pantera?
Yeah. If you need me to explain what hardcore music is, I'll do it later. We don't have all that much time. Tina's bedtime. But if you're gonna listen to this band, go listen to Swinging the Axe. That song, both times I saw them, would get just a major fucking reaction, and I loved every minute of those guys being on stage. I saw them with Slayer the first time, Exodus the second. Just a great fucking band, and hell of a loss. I hope they can bounce back from this.
This was a rough week, and they always say it comes in threes. So
really good fucking musician. Get right in your fucking face. You don't get that these days.
You get excited.
They think you're gonna murder
Simmer
them.
down now.
I love this band, and I love hardcore music.
Just hearing you talk about them, I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah.
But
I said
God bless you, Riley, and rest in peace, my friend.
Yeah, that's just a shame at 34 being gone. Another sad one too. I mean, a kind of up and comer, Justin Towns Earl. That's he's the son of Steve Earle. Died of a drug overdose this week at 38. So you got 34, 38, and then you had Chadwick Boseman, Mr. Black Panther.
Yeah, the Black Panther.
Died at 43. No one even knew he had cancer, and just a kind of a sad week for a lot of people.
Didn't he just have COVID or something?
He just had colon
One
cancer.
of them, like in those movies or something, I remember reading had tested positive. I was thinking it was him, but it may not have been.
Well, there's so many of those movies.
Probably Mark Donnie's just
Yeah, it's probably
so we can get more funding.
Yeah.
But we're not getting political, I'm sorry.
Hey, another big story this week, and this is really something you should check out on the page because there's video and probably more information I'm going to share here. But they announced all the stuff and have already started the remodel of White River State Park for the concerts. Man, they're going to dish out about $28 million this month to start. They're going to put a roof over. It's going to be like a miniature Deer Creek.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, it's a third of the size of Deer Creek, but. And the cool thing, it's not just Live Nation. The park still owns half of it too, because Live Nation is evil.
I
might rather go to White River than
Whitewater. I hope
I
it
don't
does.
know if I've ever been there.
Oh, it's the best place for a
I was
show.
supposed to go see Prince.
I just hope it doesn't
but it was canceled.
Yeah.
change because of this. I mean, but they put
It was moved
permanent.
to Deer Creek. Sorry, Mike.
Permanent restrooms in finally, and it's going to be done by the start of the concerts next year. And it's basically 3,000 seats. They got permanent seats now and 4,000 lawn. The video on there shows actually really computer generated what it looks like, and it is beautiful. I just hope it don't change the vibe of the place. But this is something I'm telling you guys. This place, they wanted to build this place before Deer Creek. This was in the works like that long ago, and they finally got the guys at White River to kind of go in on this after doing it there.
And
So-
this is this personal feeling, and Mike,